Alright guys, my name is Goblin, and today I'm going to be counting down the top 10 add-ons you need for raiding in Classic WoW. Just before we jump in guys, please do give me a quick follow on Twitch. I'll be streaming a lot of my raiding over there quite soon. So for the first add-on, I want to get a little bit of a topic out of the way because I'm going to be talking about DBM. My general recommendation with Deadly Boss modes is I wouldn't recommend downloading it until you've at least done the dungeons and the raids at least once. The thing is, DBM makes the raids ridiculously easy, and obviously in vanilla, especially during phase 1, the mechanics are fairly limited, so I'd recommend jumping into the raids without Deadly Boss modes active for your first tryout. And then when you've got the raids on farm, then yeah, fair enough, download Deadly Boss modes. And when we progress into phase 3, when the raids get a little bit more difficult, again, you know, that would be my recommendation to get Deadly Boss modes. Otherwise, you are just making the raids a little bit too easy for yourself, basically. So that's my general recommendation. But anyway, let's move on. The next add-on I'm going to show you is a very simple threat add-on, which is extremely essential. It's called Classic Threat Meter. So I'm going to get into combat to kind of show this add-on off. As you can see, I have the main thing you pay attention to when it comes to threat meter. Threat meter is here, and the main thing you really pay attention to is the percentage on the right. So you obviously don't want to pull threat off a tank, which means you avoid going to 100%, because if you have 100% that means you're going to pull threat. So before I move on, I need to talk about obviously Elixir. A lot of the time in Elixir, a raid leader will tell you to only do white damage or very slow damage on Elixir, but the thing is, if the warrior knows how to play his class and a rogue knows how to play his class, the rogue or any other DPS shouldn't pull aggro from the warrior, okay? Especially if you're a rogue. In all honesty, if I go balls to the wall with my DPS, I never pull aggro off the tank anyway, without even using feint. But obviously I need this threat meter installed just to be on the safe side. And then like, if I start pulling too much threat, then I'll use a feint, I'll use a vanish. It basically means I can optimize my DPS much more by obviously keeping the raid safe by not pulling aggro from the tank. The next add-on we have is Weak Auras, which is a really big, extensive add-on which would take me, you know, an individual video for me to fully cover. Basically, Weak Auras, what it will do, it will show certain animations on the screen, certain colours, whatever you want, when certain things happen. That's kind of like the shorthand of it, really. So you can, say for instance, if you're one of your abilities procs, you can put something in the screen to display that, or what it's more used for is when bosses do certain things. So for instance, when bosses go into different phases, when bosses gain certain buffs, and when there's certain specific mechanics going on in the raid, then you can display a little notification on the screen to remind you of that happening. So it makes raiding much easier. Again, it's not, I don't think it's essential in phase 1 because the raids are so easy, but when we start progressing into, you know, phase 3 and Courage, especially Naxxramas, then this add-on will probably see a lot more use. So the next add-on I'm going to show you is one of my favourite add-ons. It's called Tell Me When. So what it is a little bar here where you can display certain buffs. You can keep track of debuffs as well, or enemy buffs. Literally everything can be tracked with Tell Me When. The main thing I use this for is mainly tracking my own like kind of buffs, like Slice and Dice for instance. It's pretty straightforward. You right click it, you know, you put in your buffs here, and then you kind of put a timer on, and then like now if I go into combat, I will basically get like a little Slice and Dice timer, so I can track precisely when I need to refresh Slice and Dice. The next add-on is an extremely useful add-on primarily for healers, and it's called Decursive. As you can see, this little box here is basically that is displaying a individual player, and basically if I had more players like in my group, there would be little different boxes, and they will display like different colours depending on what kind of debuff that they have. For instance, if it's a curse, poison effect, magic effect, disease effect, and therefore you can very quickly and easily start decursing people. A lot of the time in raiding situations, decursing someone is even more important than actually healing them to top health, so that is something to bear in mind. So next I'm going to talk about two add-ons that go kind of hand in hand. They are Classic Aura Durations and Omnicc. Basically, Classic Aura Durations will display debuffs on the target, which, you know, Classic doesn't do by default. And Omnicc takes it a little bit further by making like big crowd control effects easier to see with a little timer, because Classic Aura Durations doesn't show a timer on the enemy unit frame, but obviously Omnicc also doesn't show duration, so you need to stack these two add-ons together to get the maximum like usefulness out of it. So for instance, if I'm going to sap this guy here, I can see the timer there, I can also see it down there, and you know, if I stun this target here, I can also see it there. So that's classic Omnicc. But then like if I do some debuffs, which I'm pretty sure I don't actually have because I'm not trained them, but if I use gouge like that, you know, I can see gouge there. If I had crippling poison, I would also be able to see stuff like that. So Bob's your uncle. The next add-on we have is another one of my favourites. It's just very simply called Character Stats Classic, and what it will do is display detailed information in the character window, you know, of your stats. Pretty much exactly what you get from retail. So as you can see in this melee window here, I can see my precise crit chance, I can see my hit chance, and if I go to defenses, I can see like everything individually rather than going to the spellbook, and it's just generally a lot more useful. And you know, I can even see mana regeneration and stuff like that. The next add-on we have is a very quick one. It's called Realmob Health. What it does is pretty much what it says on the tin. As you can see, my enemy unit frame on this Anvil Rage Overseer, I can see precisely his health, and very creepily it is 4 6s, but oh well. Thing to bear in mind of this add-on is it can sometimes be kind of inaccurate if it doesn't have the health data, but sometimes basically when you get into combat and kill an enemy, it will calculate what that enemy's health was based on the amount of damage you did before it died, and then the next time you go to kill that mob, you will basically have the data for that mob. But this is an add-on I recommend to keep up to date, because obviously the database over time is updating, so you will get more detailed information on different mobs and their health pools. So to display the next add-on, I need to quickly get into combat with this Fire Guard, because it's a very simple add-on. It is called Classic Cast Bars, and when this Fire Guard gets out of, you know, a stun, he'll probably start casting Scorch at me, and I can very clearly see the cast bar right underneath his unit frame. And there you go. I was a bit worried then that this one was not going to be a cast one, but as you can see, it's pretty much exactly the same as it is in retail, so that is definitely very, very, very useful. By the way guys, the reason why I am in BRD killing Fire Guards is because they have a very slight chance to drop an extremely expensive reagent called, I think it's Elemental Fire, and there's another one that is like has a similar name to it, but it's a white item. There's like 2 items that drop from Fire Guards which sell for about 4 gold each on my server, so I've been in here pickpocketing and killing Fire Guards. It is a pretty effective way to make money as a rogue or possibly any other class. But anyway, that is just a little bonus icing on the cake rambling point at the end of this video. But that is where I'm going to end the video, so my name is Omnicc, until my next video, ciao.